I'm going to share my sheets with you because we always go through the previous week, um, understanding the teachings that we did, which was the introduction to Exodus. So I'm going to share my sheets for the introduction of Exodus. So we have two sheets up here because I kind of discussed a little bit about the five W's. And of course, I didn't go into too much because we already have an introduction of the all the book of Moses and the title of What is Torah. So you can go through those and get all the introduction of all of the book of Moses. And of course, we are going to go through this in detail because this is important. The five W's. Who is the author of this book? Moses. So many people ask, they question, theologians are questioning today who wrote the book. But there are plenty of scriptures in Exodus, in the Bible, that tells you who is the author of the book. I want to take a look at Exodus chapter 34:27. I have my Bible before me, and I'm just going to read this. Then Jehovah said to Moses, write down these words, for in accordance to these words, I have made a covenant with you and with Israel. So he was there with Jehovah 40 days and 40 nights, and he did not eat bread nor drink water. And he wrote on the tablets the word of the covenant, the 10 commandments. And I'm reading from out of the New American Standard Bible. So we have a scripture that says that Moses wrote things down. And that, like I said, there's many more there that you can research on your own. And then we have to answer the question, to whom is this book written? This book is written to all believers. And guess what? In the scriptures, there is a verse for that. So we're gonna find that in Deuteronomy. So remember, Deuteronomy is Moses getting the people prepared to go cross over the Jordan River to the promised land. So this is Deuteronomy chapter 31, and we're gonna read verse 9 through 11. So 9 is saying who he is speaking to for these specific instruction. So listen to what Moses is saying. So Moses wrote this law and gave it to the priests, the sons of Levi, who carried the ark of the covenant of Jehovah, and to all the elders of Israel. Then Moses commanded them, saying, at the end of every 7 years, at the time of year of remission of debts, at the feast of booths, feast of tabernacle, when all of Israel comes to appear before Jehovah your Elohim at the place which he will choose, you shall read this law in front of all of Israel in their hearing. Assemble the people, the men, and the women, and the children, and the alien who is in your town, in order that they may hear and learn and fear Jehovah your Elohim, and be careful to observe all the words of the law. And their children who have not known will hear and learn to fear Jehovah Elohim as long as you live on the land which you are about to cross to Jordan to possess. So again, this is to all believers. This is not meant just for the children of Israel. We clearly heard the alien, and those who live among you. Again, that's from the New American Standard Bible. So when was this book written? 1446 BC. Why was this book written? One, we show the nature of Jehovah, the plan of redemption, which we know began before the foundation of the world. And then we have the beginning of learning about the Constitution of Israel, how you're supposed to live in his kingdom. So of course you're gonna have to take um, all the books of Moses together and show it beautifully, his constitution, but we're not there yet. But this is the beginning. This is him calling out his people. What division of the book is listed? Now, for those again in the Hebrew roots, Messianic Israelites, or if you, some that may call themselves, this is the book of Moses, the Torah. For those of the Protestant Bible that you have, those are denomination, non-denominational religious systems, it is listed as the Pentateuch. So let's jump over here to the key points. The key point is one, Exodus is just a title. It's not located in any of the books of the Bible, so you cannot do a word study for Exodus itself within the Bible. But the title is rooted in the Greek Septuagint, meaning exit or departure. And then if you look up Shemot, that comes from verse 1, part of verse 1 in Exodus, the names of, these are the names of, now these are the names of. When we, of course, we know that is found other places of the Bible. And then we see Jehovah's glory, his chosen nation, his called out ones, his congregation, the assembly, the church. We see this right here in the book of Exodus. Then we have the two blood covenants come together. We have the covenant that was made with Abraham, the circumcision, and then we have the covenant of the teachings and instructions of the law. The law is a blood covenant. So I know we went over this back in Genesis, but in Exodus chapter 34, I wrote this down for myself. In verse 27, it's chapter 34, verse 27. I'm going to read this because many people don't understand that the Torah is a blood covenant. And I'm sorry, this is chapter 24 of Exodus. It's a blood covenant. And so they don't understand that. So, and that's hard for them to understand why the Father sent the Son to teach us on how to follow that blood covenant. Once again, that's chapter 24. We're going to read verses 7 and 8 to understand that the Torah is a blood covenant. Then he took the book. This is Moses. Matter of fact, we're going to go further up. We're going to go, let's go to verse 5. No, let's go to 4. And Moses wrote down all the words of Jehovah. Then he rose early in the morning and built an altar at the foot of the mountain with 12 pillars of the 12 tribes of Israel. And he sent young men of the sons of Israel, and they offered burnt offerings and sacrificed young bulls of peace offerings to Jehovah. And Moses took half the blood and put it in a basin, and the other half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar. Then he took the book of the covenant and read it in the hearing of the people. And they said, all that Jehovah has spoken, we will do, and we will be obedient. So Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people. And he said, behold, the blood of the covenant which Jehovah has made with you in accordance with all these words. So the Torah is a blood covenant. We also talked about presenting the bride of Jehovah as the children of Israel. The house of Israel is the bride of Jehovah. So we have to make sure this goes inside my insight. We have to ensure we're able to recognize the different roles of Israel and Jehovah as we continue to study the word of Jehovah, because this alone will help you understand the rest of the scriptures. And so many people get this area mixed up and confused. So we have a word study. We had no word study, I'm sorry, all of our cross reference, and I had no questions. So from the introduction. Now I'm going to keep this up for a moment to encourage you to share what you have gotten out of the introduction we did last week, or anything that you have to say about what we just went over. Again, I'm going to keep this up for a while.